Welcome to the Hub. I am your host, Cheney Passer, and with me is at CourtK5 Instagram handle.
Give me some follows. Give me some follows.
Yeah.
Skibby. I'm just going to come up with a new nickname every time for myself.
What'd you call yourself?
CKB.
CKB, yeah. We're in the same spot, same setup, but daytime.
Yes. And different day or different part of the day. Am I still having caffeine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Still caffeine.
But we're mixing it up. Not
Still
coffee
caffeinated.
today. We're doing the new, was it new? It's new to us. New, the Jocko drink. Is that what it's called? Jocko Discipline Go.
Jocko Go.
It's so good. This, I don't know if he has more than one flavor, but we have the black cherry and vanilla.
Yeah.
I really like it.
What did you said you liked it because, like, typically those drinks are... Like
they have like the fruitier, like I guess I wouldn't see this as a pre-workout. I would see it as like a caffeine replacement, or if you just want to mix something up, or like a midday kind of drink. But I feel like for most energy drinks, they have like the fruity flavors or the cotton candy, or like the blue raz, to where this gives me that same, I guess, craving buster that I would want like as a pop or as like a soda. I love soda, so this gives me that like I'm having a Dr. Pepper or a Pepsi kind of vibe.
And it's just because of the flavor?
Yeah. Like it tastes like a cherry Coke, which I really like.
Yeah. I like it for a pre-workout too. It's It definitely does feel like a cleaner energy though too. Like you can feel that. Do I feel like some of the other things, it just like, it really jolts you and amps you up, but then it just like, you burn out completely, to where this is just like that steady rise. It's like you're just steadily ramping up RPMs, and then you just hover there.
It has monk fruit extract. That's interesting. Contains 95 milligrams of caffeine. So that's not a lot for...
It's like a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what I think.
If you're kind of sensitive to caffeine, this would be a great pre-workout thing. For me, this might not be enough to jolt me for a pre-workout, but like I like this for just like a midday fun little more boost rather than having another cup of coffee or something.
Yeah. Well, and I think like kind of like what I said, it's more of a long-lasting, sustainable energy. It's not like a typical pre-workout where it's like 300 milligrams of caffeine right there, and then you're...
By the end of the workout, you don't feel it anymore.
Yeah, and then you just burnt out and whatnot.
So, Jocko, good job.
Which setup have you liked the best? I guess you've only done these two, right? This one and the one upstairs.
Yeah, I like this because it's just more open. So I like bigger rooms, but I do like the chairs.
Yeah.
Feels more professional, I guess.
Yeah.
Feels more like a setup, like we're doing something, to where this just seems like we're just hanging out. Which I guess, I don't know.
I kind of like this because it just feels casual.
Yeah. Yeah.
To where upstairs, it's like we have that room kind of set up for this, that it feels more like work, I guess.
Sure, but I do like that we're giving different options, because I think just visually that's appealing to an audience, but also for us, that's one thing I said in the beginning is we have such a big house right now that I want to kind of take advantage of the different looks and areas.
Yeah.
To where, you're in a apartment, you might only got one option.
Yeah.
So I like it mixing it up.
Yeah. Well, we leave in what, 1, 2, 3, basically 3 days.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I mean, logistically, no. I'm nowhere near ready. I have so much to do before we leave, but I think my spirit is ready. I'm like pumped about it.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I need to get amped or like wrap my head around the excitement. I feel like I'm in like I'm kind of in vacation mode, because I only have one more like work teaching day left. So I am in the zone of like, okay, it's Christmas time, where we're going back and it's going to be fun. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the drive. I'm looking forward to having the food, and we're going to do a vlog the whole way out. We're going to do a podcast on the way out, which is going to be super fun, and
we're going to attempt
give you guys some different content. Show you all the food that we're going to have and drinks that we're going to drink. And
oh, this is news to me.
What do you mean?
You didn't tell me you were doing all that.
What do you mean? The podcast? We talked about doing a podcast.
No, yeah, the podcast, but not like a vlogging the whole way.
And I mean, it'll be super low-key.
I don't think anything you do is super low-key. It's very upfront and...
It's not like going to be a production, but just capturing the moments. Probably no different than what I would do any other time. There just might be more explanation.
I'm ready to. I've been ready for a little while. For me, it's basically just podcast stuff, getting ready, and but yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go and do the whole thing.
I think what is also cool is cool and kind of like is after we come back is when it's like buckle up.
Yeah,
so that's exciting. To not just go like, but then when you come back and then it's just back to regular life. Like, I feel like our lives are actually going to change a lot or just ramp up when we come back. So that's exciting and cool. And we have some other things that we'll talk about later that are going to be happening and we're going to be planning for. But also I'm going to be traveling a lot with work coming up. So that'll be fun. But also, like, chill time is over. If this was chill time,
isn't that funny?
It's
like,
over.
It feels like it's like the calm before the storm, but at the same time, like Christmas is going to be chaotic and
this isn't even that calm. But still, it's going to
ramp up.
It's going to ramp up.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel like I'm living at the airport.
Yeah. You'll be flying a lot.
I'll be there so much, just sitting there for so many hours.
Yeah.
But that's life, and I think I'm going to like it. I think I'm going to really enjoy it this year, actually, too.
Yeah.
But you guys will be here to experience it all and get updates. So if I end up hating it, you can look back to this video and go, you were wrong. You don't even know what's coming. But yeah. And we might have some special podcasts coming out even after we come back for Christmas too. We might have some fun guests coming on, which we're going to bring different topics and fun things to keep a lookout for. But today we are going to be talking, also continuing with the holidays, of how to stay consistent with the holiday season / what our advice or approach is when this time comes around to stay connected to our goals, still maintain what we have kind of built up within our schedule and our fitness and our eating habits, but also, kind of looking at it as this is a different time of year that we're going to be eating different things or could be eating different things and with different people and enjoying things that we normally don't get to. So also just the mental aspect of it is okay to kind of steer away from it and giving some talking points on that.
Yeah. I think the first thing that comes to mind with that is schedule. Schedule. Typically when things are not scheduled or put down, whether it's written down or put on your phone in your calendar or just however you do your scheduling and planning, exercising tends to be the one that is pushed and kind of canceled out every time, especially around this time of year where, I think in my opinion, it's probably most important to keep that consistent around this time of year. But I think that's the first thing that comes to mind is, advice or tip is to like schedule it like you would anything else. Schedule it in, make sure that you take that time to go do it, even if it's only 30 minutes to an hour or, 20 minutes, whatever it is. Schedule it, do it, and just keep that flow going.
Yeah, I think you made a good point with like schedule it like anything else. So especially around this time when you have Christmas shopping to do and parties to go to, and maybe family is coming in or you're going and hanging out with family. Taking a little bit extra of time of you're planning those events, so plan to have your workouts within those, and kind of just not letting yourself, I guess, be loosey-goose with that, just like you wouldn't be loosey-goose with having your family over for Christmas or you going over for Christmas, making that the same priority if this is an important time for you to stay on track. But yeah, I would say just also maybe writing it down, like looking at your calendar and going, these are the days that I'm going to go. These are the days that I'm going to get it in. These are my workouts that I'm going to be doing, so that you can also go, oh, okay, this is the day that I'm doing this workout, so I really cannot miss this. I think when you put a like a workout to a day, sometimes I know for me that helps me stay on track of not missing it, because then it's not just, oh, it's just another workout. It's like, no, I'm missing, like when we talked about in the last podcast of the splits of like, oh, I'm missing leg day. Mm-hmm. And you're putting a label to it. I think then it makes it a more
real and not
just like something that can be forgotten about. Because then now it's like, oh, this thing that was on my list or on my schedule, I'm not getting done. So treating it as a to-do list, same thing. You got to get all the stuff on the to-do list done. You got to get your workout in. So yeah, just making it easier for you by scheduling it out ahead of time and not just hoping that your schedule allows for it to happen.
Yeah. And I think for me, something that I fall into, whether it's working out or, I don't know, really anything else that can kind of just continue to get pushed away and forgotten about or canceled out of my schedule, is like, I'll kind of think in my head, like, I'll remember to do that, or I'll make sure I do that. And it still ends up getting pushed, or, I don't know, not treated as a priority. That, like, I think even if you feel like, no, I'll remember to do that, or I'll make sure I schedule it or whatever, in my head, I would still suggest to, kind of like what you said, either write it down in a calendar or put it on your phone, put it somewhere that is going to kind of keep you more accountable than just holding that information in your head. If you're just thinking, oh, I'm going to go work out on Monday, I think a lot of the times what happens is Monday rolls around, you start to get busy, you feel busy, and then you kind of go, oh, okay, no, I can't work out today. To where if you were to write that down in your schedule or on your phone and kind of say, I'm going to go Monday at, you look at the rest of your day and go, okay, I have time at 9 o'clock. I'm going to go at 9 o'clock. I think it'll keep you a little bit more accountable by doing that rather than just keeping it up in your head.
And this is also a good time to, like, if you just want to stay active and you're not following a specific program, or it's not following a goal or pushing towards something, and you're just trying to stay active and stay consistent with yourself, this could be a good time to mix in different styles of working out. Like something that might be more simple to fit into your schedule, something like yoga or going for walks, or if you are traveling like we do, still being able to find a gym that you could go to. So whether that's just getting a free 7-day membership somewhere, or doing a trial run somewhere, or like that, doing yoga classes that you can find, like the Boho Beautiful that we always talk about, or going for a walk. Like there's different ways, even though it's not in your set structure that maybe you're used to still be active.
Yeah, and I think good advice for this time of year too is most people are getting busier and busier. I mean, work is typically, having you cram a bunch of stuff in, or you have to cram a bunch of stuff in for work because you want to be able to take the time off. I mean, everything is, you have to get gifts, you have to set up the house, whatever it may be. Everything is getting busier and crazier, that I don't think there's anything wrong. And I think it can actually be a smart idea to kind of take your, whatever your workout program is, and kind of, what's the word? I keep thinking of, I feel like not the right words.
Like
Just
making
lighten it. Like I think lighten your workout program or your routine for this time of year, because if you try to keep that same, high intensity and you're adding in all this craziness that comes with the holidays, it's going to be more and more likely that you're skipping out on workouts, or you're pushing them to the side, or you're forgetting about them, or you're too tired to go do it. So I think it could be good advice to lighten your load, to make it more manageable, so that you can go do it. To where if you have this heavy load of work is cramming and your workouts are super tough and hard, and it just everything feels heavy, you're gonna be more likely to skip out on the workout rather than going, yeah, all I have is a 20 or 30-minute yoga today, and that's my activity. That's way better than
no
you,
activity.
yeah, than you planning on doing a huge, large workout and not getting it done. And then that snowballs into, now you didn't get 2 or 3 or 4. So I think lightening the load can be a good idea.
Yeah, especially if you are someone that is consistent all the time and all throughout the year, and just that this is when it gets a little bit crazier just because there's more going on. You probably could also benefit from taking a little time off and taking a little break, or trying something new, working on your mobility, working on your stretching, things that maybe you don't take the time for during the regular season. But if you are someone that's like, I already struggle to get in there, period, then maybe this is where the scheduling can help you, and just like going, I'm not going to let this time of year affect me, because the little stresses during the regular time of the season also force me to not go in there. So let's just learn how to make it a non-negotiable as well. So figuring out who you are and which version, what is going to help you the best.
Yeah, I think it's a tricky balance of not being too hard on yourself and not being too lazy, basically.
Yes.
I have so much going on, like I can't do it. Everybody's got so much going on. So you're not the exception to the rule, but at the same time, I wouldn't act like I'm going to ramp it up and I'm going to go harder because I'm tough, just find the balance for you. And I think with how much stress typically comes with this time of year as well, I would lean towards the ones that the workouts that are more fun for you and are more of a stress relief for you than the ones that may induce a little bit more stress. If you're going to the gym like, oh, I really don't want to do this. This sucks. I hate this. During regular time or normal time of year, that may be something you just have to work through and get over. But with this time of year where there's so many other elements that are stressing you out, I would say don't load your plate with more stress. Like, how nice it would be to look forward to just the 20-minute yoga or going for a nice long walk versus like, I got to go into the weight room and slam a bunch of weights around, and that stresses me out and it's hard and it's difficult. So I would say lean more towards the ones that you enjoy doing, because it can be more of a stress relief. And again, that is going to help you stay consistent in continuing to go, rather than, the last week or 2 weeks of December kind of being where you fall off the wagon and you got to pick that stuff back up again.
Yeah, and now I want to give some tips as well with not only the working out but also the eating, because I know for the holiday season, that's for me what I notice really changing is, even if the schedule doesn't change and you can fit in the workouts, it's harder to avoid the diet change, because you might be going over to other people's houses, or you're just getting together more, which is typically, allowing for more food or a more consistent routine of bad food.
Yeah.
That there are also ways to support yourself and support your journey and support your goals and staying on track with that. And I think in a second we will get to kind of the opposing side of all of this, of why it can also be a benefit during this time of year to maybe fill a different version or a different cup of yours. But if you are one of those people that wants to stay on track and wants to stay consistent, something that is a tool that you could use, and depending on how comfortable you feel doing this, but you can always bring your own food, and maybe it's just bringing your own dish, or you're bringing a healthier option to the parties that you're going to. Like my dad this year, he has cut out sugar and carbs, and like carbs on most levels, not even just breads and grains, but like heavier, the fruits and vegetables that are heavier in carbs. So he kind of has to plan ahead and not just hope that there are going to be healthier options there. And that also can go into looking for different recipes and challenging yourself cooking that way of, not getting to lose out on more of the fun foods, but just finding different substitutes to those foods that then you can still, stay on track, but kind of have a breakup in your regular diet. So just like, I think an example I gave earlier, but just of like a dessert. Like if dessert is something that you really look forward to, finding a healthier dessert that you can bring so that when that time comes around, when everybody is eating their dessert, you don't have to face that either or of, oh, should I have it? And then maybe feel bad about it. And now I'm off my schedule, or going, no, I can still have something, but it's just a little bit more in alignment with my goals.
Well, and I think that's something to touch on too, what you just brought up of either or. I think that's kind of the default that we go to of either you have it or you don't. That I would suggest thinking about like just portion sizes, because a lot of the times we go either or, and then it's, if we do, it ends up being, you kind of just go all in about it, rather than maybe go into it with the intention of, I know there's going to be, a bunch of things that maybe I shouldn't eat or just are not as good for me because that's this time of year and this is the food that we make, that you can still enjoy it, but going in with the intention of like, I'm going to make sure I keep my portion sizes smaller, rather than playing that either or game.
Another importance, I think, of also staying consistent with your workouts is, and maybe this isn't the best way to look at it, but it will also allow you more wiggle room when it comes to not eating the healthiest. And that just goes for overall, when you're good, the rest of the year, and you are consistent with your diet and eating good, whole, like a balanced diet, and you're getting in the gym consistently and lifting weights and having resistance training a part of your life, those couple bad meals aren't really going to take as much recovery time.
Right. And that's why I suggest to just go in with kind of going, just try to keep your portion sizes lower. It's not like, you gotta be tough and say no to all of it and whatever. It's like, well, now you're just not enjoying the time with that's, I feel like with us being from the Midwest, like, and maybe it's not even a Midwest thing, it's a everybody thing, but it's like, that's kind of where you enjoy company and stuff, is over food, over drinks. It's a part of the thing that, like, if you're just rejecting all of that, you might not be kind of like living in that moment as fully as you could be, to where I don't think it's, you have to avoid everything at all costs. I think it's just, limit your portion sizes so you don't get sick, and so that it doesn't, start to snowball into like, well, now we're at, January 15th and I'm still eating poorly because of kind of falling off the wagon. I think that's also like, no, that's for a different time. But I would say you can still have all of those fun foods and things. Just try to not go crazy with it all.
Yeah. Yeah, and just set yourself up for that. Set yourself up the best way that you can, so that, again, you don't have to make the decision, or you can help yourself not get into those like, oh, well, I really want to. Or
well, what
like,
ways would you set yourself up?
Set myself up, say like with the portion sizes is, thinking of what foods maybe will benefit you more So maybe still within like the day, say if for me, if I'm going to go over to my grandparents later and I know like they're going to have a lot of yummy food that I want to eat, but it's not the healthiest for me, I'm going to make sure that I get a good breakfast in. I'm going to make sure that I have my eggs and fruit and vegetables so that at least I'm getting that in. Or I'm going to, like, when we go on our drive and we like eating just like the fun fast food on the drive. Let's pack a couple juices, pack a couple green or, just like veggie juices so that we're still getting those vitamins at some point during the day. And it's super easy, and you can just kind of set yourself up so that when you're later on throughout the day kind of enjoying it a little bit more, you know that you set yourself up accordingly. Or I would say staying hydrated. So I'm excited that this year we have these super big water bottles that I know if I bring that, I will stay more consistently hydrated because I brought something that sets myself up for that.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the either or again too, of like, just because you have, you're maybe even planning on it. You're planning on eating the food that's there, like I do. I plan on eating the food that's there. But again, like this either or attitude of like, well, that's just what I'm eating today and I'm doomed. It's like, no, you can have a healthy breakfast, or like you said with our drive, like we're going to be stopping at places on the way because it's just most convenient, and
it's fun for us.
And it can be fun. But with that, like, let's still try to get as much nutrients as we can throughout it by making juices and taking that, or just finding the other ways, kind of like what you said of make your own breakfast and do that. And that's another tip or advice that I would give too, is if you're kind of worried about going in and maybe eating too much of the bad food, or portion sizes being too big, or you're just worried about eating it in general, I would say try to eat before and eat good stuff before, so that you're kind of already full, or you don't feel like you need a lot of food, and then go into that gathering and, you might be forced to make smaller portion sizes.
Or even if you really want to go super granular with it, I know for me, I have like my favorites, to where there's also some foods there where I'm like I don't really like Christmas cookies, but I love, say,
oh my gosh,
like brownies.
Get out.
Okay, well then I don't need to I don't need to waste my go crazy with it on the cookies. Now this is just, I'm eating it to eat it, rather than this is going to make it fun for me. I am going to enjoy this. This is worth it. Figuring out it's worth it foods too.
Yeah.
Because you could just be eating it because it's there, because they have a full platter out in the whole party. And the whole time it's like, no, I already ate. I'm good.
Well, and that happens a lot of time too, where food will just be kind of set out and sitting there, that it ends up being very snacky. And I think that's fine. But again, like try to be aware of what you're doing and portion it out. Like don't just keep going up to the table and grab more. Like grab a plate or grab a bowl, put what you want into the bowl, eat the bowl, and then be done with it until the actual food comes out. There's just little ways that you can kind of stop yourself, or even just redirect yourself from really binging on all the stuff there and kind of falling down in this hole. And they may sound not fun or silly or whatever, but I think if you do it, you'll be happy that you were able to still enjoy the foods, but also not like eat so much and it just kind of mess up your day, or even mess up your flow of being active and being on a good healthy diet the rest of the time.
I also think something that we talk about a lot on this podcast is seeing fitness and health as the whole being. So having your mental health checked, having your emotional health checked, having your physical checked. I know you want me to comment on the fact that you're holding the note, so I see you holding the note. But like we had talked about in a couple podcasts ago, is this time can be more stressful. This time can bring out different emotions and maybe a little bit more of a sensitivity around this time, that fitness and your health is something you can control. I think there's a lot of external factors that you might feel like you don't have your own personal control over during this time, that your health is 100% yours, 100% something that you have control over, and whatever you want to do and how you want to maintain it and go forward with it, that this could be kind of something that keeps bringing you back to normal, keeps bringing you back to your neutral, not only from an emotional state but also physically. Like it's keeping you on track, it's keeping those positive chemical reactions to happen, that you might be able to feel like you can handle those other things more because your boxes are being checked. You don't feel like you're doing everything for everybody else.
Yeah. Well, and with how stressful this time is, I think exercise is one of those things that is a stress relief that as important, like I think it's very important to continue to exercise, especially during this time. You just have to find that balance that is giving you the stress relief and not adding more stress to this time. But I think continuing to exercise and get activity in is extremely important during this time. I mean, we are planning on doing that because we know how, I don't know, worked up we can get or emotional everything becomes around this time of year, that that's one of those things that, kind of like you said, you have control over this and you can continue to do it and have that kind of be your stability. But again, like, don't be so stubborn about it that I have to get this in or whatever, because it's about balance. And your whole year is gonna, the balance is gonna change of being more active versus being less active. And I think this typically for most people is the time of year where you become less active, and that's okay because you need to have that balance. But have the balance. Don't just completely drop out exercise and activity because you're stressed out, because that could be something that actually ends up helping that stress.
Yeah, set yourself up to succeed. And I think even if working out or eating healthy is something that you're still struggling with or still struggling to find the importance in, maybe even, I would say just kind of blindly trust it right now, because I think the more that you are consistent with it, you will see on a day-to-day basis how it helps on all of those factors of what we talk about, of mental, emotional, and physical. I know for me, it is night and day when we keep this consistent during these times. Like the past couple of years, we've gone back and, like we said, we enjoy the food. We enjoy drinking more. We don't get as much sleep. Our schedules are completely out of whack, that I can feel like, oh, my body starts to feel gross. And I start to get maybe sick when we come back sometimes, or like I'm just not as amped. And then that in turn allows me or doesn't help me enjoy the things that we're talking about enjoying, because I don't feel good. To where when we have gone on vacation and then we stay consistent with our working out, that helps my energy throughout the day. That wakes me up. That keeps me a little bit more on track when I am eating or drinking things that are maybe not the usual. I feel like they're being used for something, not just making me feel worse.
Yeah, and I think, again, even like that vacation example, we're not doing our usual routine when we go there.
So it's fun too.
It's a lightened version of it. We're going in and doing the exercises that are most fun to us, or we're doing yoga because that's fun, or we're, whatever it is, we're just going and walking more. We're not keeping the same, strict workout program. We're lightening it because, other things are going on that require a little bit more attention. And it's that balance that is, there's more stress and there's more stuff going on and more busyness. So we need to bring down, a little bit more responsibility of like having to be at the gym 5 days a week. Let's reduce it to 3 maybe, or we can still do 5, but instead of an hour, let's go a half hour. And you have to work with yourself because, it's like what we brought up in the past podcast. If you're wanting to add something into your workout, typically you have to take something out of that too. So we're adding all this busyness and this stress. We need to kind of take something out And I think it's okay to take fitness out. If you don't want to or don't need to, great. But if that's something that you feel like is taking up a lot of time or stress, take a little bit away. But still make sure that you're doing it, because I think it can be a huge benefit to help the stress on the side.
Yeah, and if you're new to this as well, and you're like, this is going to be my first holiday after I started, being consistent with my workouts or being consistent with my diet, I would challenge you to, just go for it and stay consistent with it. But if you're like, that's already adding so much stress, focus on one of them. Focus on, this year I'm going to really try to stay consistent with my workouts, but I'm going to let myself eat whatever I want. Or I'm going to stay, kind of on track with my food and try to choose healthy choices and manage, my portion sizes. But I'm going to maybe not be so strict with getting in every single time that I normally go to the gym.
Yeah, 1 day a week is better than 0 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And
going for a walk is better than sitting on a couch with your family all the time. And that's another thing that I was going to bring up too, is this can also be a great time of year that you can, going back to the doing things differently of, for us, we travel back home. So I'm looking forward to doing workouts with my dad.
Yeah.
And getting to do that, or, doing yoga in the morning with maybe some of the kids, or going on walks with different family members, figuring out different ways that you can still kind of bring both worlds together.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be fun. I think that's kind of the point of this podcast, is trying to explain or show that, like, it's so hard and stressful to keep it going during this time that it's like, it's almost like, don't give it the power. Don't give it the power to be super stressful and whatever. It's okay to lighten. It's okay to do the things that you want to do and are fun to do. Like, it's okay during this time because there's a ton going on. So yeah, like going for walks with other people or hanging out with family and trying to find something a little bit more active to do. Just, it's stressful. So try to find the balance and make it less.
Yeah. Yeah. Fitness and health are supposed to be enjoyed, not something that takes away joy.
Right.
And it should take away stress and take away the feeling of, I feel gross in my body. That don't let this time of year change that. And if you're still trying to figure out that feeling with your health, maybe just pay attention to it a little bit more. Of when you take that time off, do you see the effects on your body? And I mean, see it as in, like, physically, how does it make you feel? I can tell when I stop working out. I can tell when I start eating a little bit off the wagon that I don't like how that feels. I start to get stomach aches. I start to get headaches a little bit more frequently. I just feel bogged down. I don't have the energy in the morning. That to me is not worth it. When I can feel the difference of that, and the amount of work that I need to do to not feel that is so minimal, that I will never not do that now. That I think it's just also getting to that point of realizing the either or when that happens, because that'll help your motivation stay there, help your consistency.
Well, and a point you made earlier too of, being consistent mostly throughout the year. Remember that this is a very small amount of time in the year. If you don't feel like you do a good job handling everything that comes with this holiday season, just remember, like, it's a very small amount of time. Even if it's for the whole month of December, that's 1 out of 11 months. If you're solid for 11 months, you're not going to lose all your progress. 1 month isn't going to do it, or 2 weeks isn't going to do it. So remember that this is such a small time of the year. And I think that can be helpful if you're remembering that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's everything for me.
Me too.
Cool. Subscribe.
Like it.
Yeah. Yeah, like and subscribe our channel. We have our Facebook page, The Hub Fitness. We have our Instagram, The Hub_fitness. And I think hit the bell so you get notified every time we post a video or a podcast or a how-to video. Every little interaction helps, whether it's likes, comments, subscription, bell, all that stuff helps. So do it.
Please.
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 It's one click.
Yeah. We promise we won't be annoying about it.
Yeah.
But
But we have to say it.
It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
Annoying thing that we have to say.
And even if you don't like the podcast, but I mean, if you've gotten this far, you're probably going to like the rest of them. But we also are going to be putting out more content and continuing to do different kinds. We already have a lot of our tutorials and other things coming out too. So even just if you subscribe to the whole channel, there will be something for you.
Yeah, totally. All right, cool. Thanks for watching.